Hey everyone, I'm back. We're going to be showing off Pantheon of Hallownest, which is the very final section of the Hollow Knight DLC. So you might see this at the end of a 112% run, but that's about it. There's not really a whole lot of categories that get to feature this, so I'm really excited to show this off. Can you tell me which of our skins won the bid war?
For sure. Let me just do one final check to see if anybody's sniped the first place. But it is still Mimikyu in the lead, so we will be running with the Mimikyu custom skin.
Awesome. All right, so this run is very, very fast-paced. I probably won't be able to talk a whole lot through any of it. So if my co-commentators want to help cover our charms and some other things throughout the run, that would be very helpful. But yeah, this is the build that I'm going to be using. That's Quick Slash, by the way. It's primarily a nail build, but with a lot of spell usage, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, even for players that lean heavily on nail, it's a little bit hard to discount the effectiveness of Shaman.
I forgot to count down, I'm sorry.
Starting now.
Yeah, starting now.
Because when you're hitting things with your nail, obviously you're going to accumulate soul, and there are some cases where casting magic is going to be the most effective move, whether that's because the enemy is far away from you or just in order to get some more convenient DPS. We're going to start out the fight with double Benchfly Kings, and thankfully not every fight has double bosses. But something that is common is that they have their more complicated arenas. So here you can see we're fighting Gruzmon with an awful lot of spikes on the floor. And spikes on the floor or no floor is definitely going to be a theme throughout Pantheon 5. But yeah, it doesn't take very long, fairly easy fight. False Knight, of course, we can just absolutely bully in this. Even though we don't have Fury on like we did at the beginning of the run, we're actually stronger because everything's upgraded. We're throwing in magic there, as well as our pure nail with strength.
And you can see we've already done lots and lots of shrieking, whereas we did basically none of it in 106.
Yeah.
So it's going to get a lot more use.
One thing with False Knight is you can Dream Nail his armor after he's dead in order to stock up your soul. So that's something that helps you go into the next fight a lot stronger, both on this and on Failed Champ. Massive Moss Charger. We didn't see you earlier, and we barely got to see you now.
Kind of a killer boss, honestly.
Excuse me. And then we're going to move on to Hornet 1. And funny thing about Hornet 1 in Pantheon 5 is that in order to not make her absolutely free, since she is such an early game boss, she actually is very, very buffed on HP. And in some ways, the Hornet 1 fight is almost harder than the Hornet 2 fight in Pantheons because it's such a big difference from how they are in the overworld. Next is Gorb, and this is another one where you see we do not have a complete floor anymore. We've got platforms, and Gorb likes to teleport when you're on the same side of the arena. So it can be tricky to get him to hold still long enough to do the damage. And we want to maintain some soul because the next fight is Dung Defender. So we want to be able to get Dung Defender out of the floor and then do a scream skip so that we can start cycling damage while he's still beating his chest.
Nice.
And nice, got both of them. And this fight is over so quickly when you get the scream skips. Soul Warrior is next, which, I mean, if you didn't know he was boss, now you know. This is the upgraded version in that we do get the Follies as adds in this fight, but with upgraded nail, they're one-hit kills, so they're not really more than a distraction. There are a few bosses in the Pantheon of Hollow Knight that have a tendency to glitch, and this is actually one of them. Thankfully, we didn't run into the glitch now, but he can get stuck in the wall sometimes. Here is the Brooding Moloch, and if you're wondering where Tiso is, Tiso only shows up in Pantheon 5 if you complete his quest line in the base game. So during speedruns, you're not going to see him, and if there's a God Seeker file like this is, you're also not going to see him show up in the Moloch fight. And here we are at Oro and Mata, which means that we are already 25% of the way through the Pantheons. Oro and Mato are the surprise final boss at the end of Pantheon 1. And then the other, Shio, the other Nail Master, as well as Sly, will be seeing later on in P5.
That positioning to get shrieks on both of them is really, really nice. You're getting 120 damage spread across the both of them. It's a lot of outgoing damage.
And them ending right there like that is excellent too, because she can get Dream Nails in on both of them and just fully have full magic without having to spend any time in the hot spring. Of course, the hot spring is an option if you need to get a little bit more soul, or if you're just looking for HP, you can sit on the bench. And here we have a 0 fight with small platforms. And most of these, it doesn't make the fight too much harder. It just kind of makes it a little bit more of a hassle. And Zeros is one of those. Crystal Guardian here is free in Pantheons. Once you have Shade Cloak and you can just dash through whenever he tries to laser you, he becomes much less of a problem, and he wasn't that big of a problem to start with.
He's just a soul totem.
Yeah. Soul Master here. Soul Master melts to Abyss Shriek, and I mean, phase 1 is already over like that. In the Pantheons, you do still get the second phase. You just don't have to fight, or you don't have to fall through the floor to get to it. And as we talked about earlier, avoid that first dash because there's not actually a hitbox there. But you can get in multiple hits during this phase and even some shrieks. So ended them even before we got to the fireball phase there.
Yeah, very nice fight.
Yeah, headed out of Soul Master, Oblobbles. We got very lucky with Oblobbles earlier in the Coliseum, and they're doing really nice lining up here in P5 so that we can hit both of them with spells.
Yeah, and a reminder about what Colette said before, even though Emray managed to shriek both of them at the same time, you literally can't kill them both at once.
And here is, I would say, one of the most joyful moments in the game. How many people got here and were just absolutely thrilled to find out they were not, in fact, fighting the Mantis Lords. The moment when they all stand up, like everybody that I've ever watched get here casually, it's just like a moment of pure joy. Because like I mentioned earlier, people like the Mantis Lords. And, you know, a lot of people I've seen say, man, I wish I could fight all three at once. Well, you can. You just have to get to the game's hardest challenge to do so. Shriek putting in a lot of work when the Mantises are up on the wall there. They're very easy to line up and hit. And this is another good opportunity. I mentioned it very early in the run, but as a reminder about the iframes that D-Dart gives. On current patch, they're not quite as powerful as they were on 1.2.2.1, but they're still more than adequate to dodge attacks and to protect you, especially in situations where maybe your Shade Cloak hasn't recharged and you need to avoid something. A D-Dart can really come in clutch.
I also took care to not use any shrieks in the second half of that fight. And the reason for that is I was preparing for the next gauntlet coming up. And
here's Marmu, and I have to take this opportunity in this stage to say that this boss looks very, very round.
She's shaped like a friend, even though she's not.
Yeah. Especially in that very thorny arena, it makes it a lot tougher. Not just because the thorns are there, but because the arena itself is smaller, and so that affects the way that Marmu bounces around. Not that her bounces necessarily make any sense in the first place. Oh yeah, P.S. that was Fluke Mom. Emray said that this like goes really fast, and some bosses it's even more true than others. I mean, I think due to the fact that we missed the quick kill on 1221, that fight was probably even faster than the one during the run. And there we're also already through through Broken Vessel.
Oh my goodness, I just noticed the thing about the skin. I was like, huh, I didn't bow whenever I've been bowing to bosses at the end. The face moves down on Mimikyu.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my goodness. I didn't know. It's so cute.
It's extremely mimi cute.
Look, I'll do it again.
Yeah, and I, blasphemous, am not a Pokemon person, so I had to have somebody explain to me the Mimikyu lore. And then knowing it really helped me to appreciate what a good skin it is, because it incorporates such small things like that. And aside from the artistic skill, like the way that the custom Knight skins bring that character into the Hollow Knight world is just cool. Shio marks pretty much our 50% point, the final boss of Pantheon 2, and one of the most unique fights, I think. Seeing the way that the paint splatters across the arena is one of my favorite things. And hey, who's this? Here's another boss similar to Moss Knight that we did not see in the 106 run.
Can't believe you missed Moss Knight skip here. Or not Moss Knight.
Hive Knight skip, yeah. Wow.
I can speak words. I English good.
But it's okay. We know how to fight Hive Knight, even though we usually go for that skip. The small bees can be a bit annoying there. If he ends up doing them right before death, they can actually come down and hit you after he's already dead. But we managed to avoid that. And here is the
poo again. We saw a pancake, unfortunately.
Yeah, these pancakes are being very aggressive. Even the nice pancakes.
We only got one of the big pancakes, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a visual cue for that, and I missed it. I think I was a little bit late on that. But that scream skip saves 15 or so seconds. It's very strange. It is PC dependent. So everyone has to kind of figure out their own setup for scream skipping collector.
Yeah. And the scream skip, again, just gives you so much time to put in damage while the boss is, ignoring you, because in theory you're frozen, but that collector fight still went pretty well. Of course, in the collector fight, you have to get your soul from the ads, as striking collector does not give you soul, although you can dream nail collector for soul. And here we'll have our current patch God Tamer fight, where it doesn't matter as much if it decides to ball up, because we can still hit it with magic. You don't have to defeat the Tamer, you only need to defeat the Beast in order to end the fight. And once the Beast is destroyed, then the Tamer kind of just gives up altogether. And then coming...
sad.
Yeah. Troop Master Grimm here, we can get in several Dream Nails during the bow. And then there's a somewhat scary quick kill that is the reason that we have Grub Song on. Basically, every time you tank a hit from the balloon, you're getting a little bit of soul, and it gives enough to just shriek until he goes bye-bye.
Oh, you just melt.
Yeah.
Still 4 health left too, so that's almost half health left. That's it's not actually as scary as it looks like.
I want to show off a thing about that. Yeah, so those are actually spikes and not acid.
Yeah.
For some reason, you can pogo that.
And in the background there was and the God Seeker has a little bit of lore about how is a sleeping goddess. If you talk to the God Seeker during that little in between room. Watchers, not quite as easy as what we dealt with earlier, but still not too much trouble considering the other bosses that we have to deal with in the Pantheon. Of course, you do have to deal with all 6. There's no handy lantern to drop in the Pantheons.
This is some of the worst RNG I could be getting, though. You really don't want them to roll away from you. You want them to stay as close as you can. This is good, and the swing attack is good, but you really don't want them to, go across the arena.
Yeah, if they're close to you, you can get them with Shriek. And if they roll away, you can get in double hits with the Shade Soul, but that's still a double with the Shade Soul is 80 compared to 120 if you get all your shrieks.
Yeah.
Here's Umu, and we talked about during the run like the different kinds of attacks Umu can do. And in the Pantheon, because Coral is not here, we also have to count on Umu to summon jellyfish. The jellyfish are how we break through Umu's squishy outer shell in order to do actual damage. And if you can get a cooperative spawn, it can go pretty quickly. We did have to wait through a couple of attacks there before any jellyfish came out, but then, oh goodness. Okay, that was, I don't know if Em was trying to get the
I was trying to get the
come
glitch.
through. Because of the way Pantheons work, sometimes that jellyfish can come through and hit you during this flying Nosk fight. It's pretty funny. It's kind of strange. The first time I saw it, I was very surprised, but you know, Nosk is considered a sort of mimic, and this version is not mimicking the vessel, it's mimicking a hornet. And it's also mimicking the Vengefly King, basically. You need to watch out for the blobs and for the ghosts, but once you learn the fight, it's not really too much different than some other fights that we already know.
I got the Hornet Hacky Sack.
Very nice. Big
I like to play Hornet Hacky Sack when I do Pantheon runs.
Now we have Sly.
Yes, aka Bug Yoda. Small fly with a very large sword. And this is usually, he's the boss at the end of Pantheon 3. So this is about the 75% mark. And the end can be a little bit intimidating the first time you get here. It's all about, well, dodging and getting the hit in, or face tanking and getting the hit in. But once you finish him off, you have an opportunity to get in some dream nails, so you can fill up your soul before moving into the next fight, because you don't actually get a bench afterwards. We have to move directly into Hornet 2, who is not as scary in the Pantheons as she is in the overworld. With, I would think, the small exception that her aerial spikes are a little bit hard to see in this arena. But if you kill her fast enough, you don't even have to worry about that. There are no spikes. They do not exist.
What spikes?
Yeah.
Yeah, what spikes?
Next we have Enraged Guardian, and is basically just Crystal Guardian again.
He's a soul totem.
Yeah.
Yeah, helping us refill after the Hornet fight. Thanks. Enraged Guardian.
No need for Hot Springs. You have Enraged Guardian. And that allows us to go into Lost Kin with a very full health. And this has a kind of like a stun lock, where if you get it correctly, the hits from D-Dark, along with a couple of nail hits, will send him right back into a stun, and the fight goes over pretty quickly that way. So even though we don't have flukes to unload, it's still pretty trivial.
Here he goes.
Everyone's favorite is next. It's No Eyes in the worst arena you've ever seen. There are magnets inside of these thorns, and there's also magnets inside of your face, so you have to be very, very careful in this particular arena. Or maybe I'm the only one with magnets in my face. I don't know.
Oh no, I got wombo comboed for 4 damage yesterday while practicing, and I was just like, well, this bodes well for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Gotta get the wombo combos out of the way early, though.
Yeah, exactly.
No Eyes has, what is it, like a 30% chance to teleport every time you hit her?
35, yeah.
35. So she was actually being kind of cooperative. We were getting, what, like 3-4 hits at a time?
Yeah, that was not terrible. It could go way, way worse, trust me.
And then hopefully Trader Lord is another soul totem for us here. We did take an unfortunate hit, but generally speaking, and maybe it's the size of the arena that makes this feel easier, this is easier than the overworld fight. And then we've already made it up to White Defender, and a successful Scream Skip lets us start off with a lot of damage there. A lot of the Scream Skips utilize dive, because the dive iframes basically let you end up inside the boss, and then you take the damage when the scream starts, which knocks you out of the frozen position. So the White Defender's gone into his little dive and throw lots and lots of poop at you, as opposed to stand and throw lots of poop at you.
No opportunity to play volleyball this time.
Yeah, unlucky. We didn't get it in either run. It's fine.
And then coming out of here, this is the Godseeker room that I mentioned earlier with the White Lady in the background and some additional lore if you stop to talk to them. And we are in the final stretch of the Pantheon now, starting with Soul Tyrant, which is a lot easier with full magic than it was when we fought him so early in 106. He's doing a lot of teleporting, which is pretty rude. But things are still going pretty well.
Generally speaking, when things teleport, it's bad news. Just in terms of like being able to continuously land hits on them, and why you gotta be so rude?
The worst enemies are always teleporting enemies. And then we've got the usual dive phase here, and you'll see Emray getting in some double hits here and saving her magic, because the next fight up is going to be Markoth, and Markoth is easier if you come in with a little bit of magic in your pocket. Small platforms are the bane of my existence, and so this is literally my least favorite fight in the entire Pantheon because of the small platforms. Once Markoth goes into 2 shields, that's basically close to the end of the fight, and you can unload a little bit more. And then, do we have?
I was trying to play a little bit safer there.
Okay, we do have.
Yeah,
Great
of
Prince
course.
Zote. Well, yes, for showcase. I assumed, but then I didn't want to assume. You can get in Dream Nails at the start of the Great Prince Zote fight as long as you beat him the last time you fought him. He has different lengths of screams, and if he won the last time you fought him, he actually does a scream so short that you can't get in a Dream Nail. But if you can get in some Dream Nails, that gives you quite a bit of soul to work with. Dive makes dodging some of these shockwaves easy, and you just have to deal with Zote's like extremely clumsy moves. One of his worst moves is literally falling over when you expect him to run at you or stuff like that. But after Zote is another Soul Totem in Failed Champ, and he is basically not that much different than False Knight in this context. You're still able to really easily stagger, and you're also able to take advantage of dream nailing the armor once the fight is over, so that you can go with full soul into the next fight.
Yeah, it's very funny how fast this fight goes.
Yeah. And it's really kind of unfortunate. One of the few unfortunate things, we don't get the super good music on Grim and the Pantheon. We get Pantheon music. But we are in the final 3 bosses of the Pantheon. After NKG, we'll get a bench, and then it will be Pure Vessel into Absolute Radiance. And we haven't really had barely any downtime this whole run. I don't know if we maybe have a donation or 2 to sneak in before we get to the very, very end.
Sure. I want to update everybody on our grand total raise for Malala Fund. We are at $79,984. We are just $16 away from 80K, everyone. We can do this. We can reach 80K by the end of the run. We can do it. Let's go.
That's
Right. I'm a kind of low health here. Okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable now that I have a lot more soul. I was taking a hit there to do that quick kill. I like to have at least 5 health, because even if I panic dash in a direction and I take a hit, I know that I'm okay because I can't take more. Because the way his balloons work is that every 25, 50, and 75% of health down, respectively, he goes into a balloon. So I know that if he's in the final balloon, 3 will always kill him.
Yeah, and in some cases, orbs or fireballs disappear on an enemy's death. Grimm's fireballs are not like that. So you might kill them and then the fireballs are still hanging around. So you have to be very mindful of that or be prepared to have enough health to tank that. And Pure Vessel is here, the basically upgraded Hollow Knight with both arms and a lot more sharp things to throw at us. And there are 3 pretty distinct phases in this. We're moving into the second phase here with the orbs, and then we will move into the third phase with the dark noodles. If we get really lucky, we might not get any noodles, but usually you'll get at least 1. And then the nice thing, no noodles. The nice thing is, of course, we do get a full heal before moving into Absolute Radiance. And, I mean, I don't know, probably, there's somebody who's willing to argue about anything, but I would say Absolute Radiance is hands down the hardest boss in the game. Everything about regular Radiance, but faster and sometimes double. So, more swords being thrown at you, more things to worry about. But if you can unload enough damage, you can still push the phases pretty quickly. And there you saw Emray do a dive onto the spike floor, and something that is maybe not well known casually is that if you dive on the spikes, oh, that was nice. You can actually...
Yeah, I skipped the second part of the first phase.
Yeah, no sword rain at all. You can make the spike floor despawn by landing on it with dive.
Yeah, so when you hit the spike floor with your iframes, the game goes, oh, you hit the spikes, and it despawns them.
And, regular Radiance always spawns in the middle. Absrad can spawn anywhere on this field of platforms. And then we're moving into the climb phase. The lasers here are very quick, but there is a rhythm to it. So once you get into the dodge, usually you can make it without too much trouble. And then once we get to the top, there's going to be an orb dance. You don't just get to immediately kill Absrad. And we're coming up on time.
Yeah, time again is going to be on the fade out. Flashing light warning here.
GGM.
GG.
GG indeed.
I always just gotta hold my breath a little bit on Absrad because she's scary.
She really is.
That was very clean though.
Even at my level, Absrad is still one of the scariest bosses. Okay,
I'm so proud of you.
So that was all of my Hollow Knight showcase. My 2 favorite things. I'm honored that I got to show them off. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all of your generous support to the Malala Fund. It means a lot.
Did we get that last $16? Did we get 80K tonight?
Yes, I am happy to report that we hit $80,000 raised for Malala Fund. Thank you everybody for your generosity in supporting a fantastic cause, helping girls around the world. And Emray, thank you so much for showcasing Hollow Knight. Where can people find you if they want to watch more?
Twitch.tv/Emray. Hollow Knight's my main game. I'm also speedrunning Metroid Dread, which hopefully we hit that incentive tomorrow. I'm very excited to show that off too. But I love Metroidvanias, and yeah, you should also follow my commentators here. Sabera also speedruns a lot of Metroidvanias, and Colette is also a goddess of Hollow Knight, so they're both also fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showcasing Hollow Knight. It was a joy to watch. Another round of applause for Emray, Colette, and Sabera for showcasing everything Hollow Knight has to offer. Be sure to check them out. And I have some more donations to read here from our generous contributors. We have a $15 donation from Lioness saying, have to donate for this fantastic Hollow Knight set. Congrats to Emray on a spectacular run. And $25 coming in from Rhodey saying, so glad to have stumbled across this. Best of luck with everything in the run. Thank you so much for checking us out. And thank you so much for showing support to our runners and donating to a great cause, that is Malala Fund. And a couple more donations, a $15 donation from Anonymous saying 80K, let's go. And let's go indeed. We hit 80K tonight. This is awesome. Thank you everybody for your generous contributions. And another $16 donation saying 80K hype from Anonymous. Thank you everybody for your generosity, for supporting a great cause that is Malala Fund. Malala Fund, by the way, is working for a world where all girls can learn and lead. Malala Fund advocates for resources and policy changes needed to give all girls a secondary education, invest in local education leaders, and amplifies the voices of girls fighting for change. You can learn more on malala.org. And just a reminder, we have some awesome prizes, including a couple of our grand prizes here that you can check out on gamesdonequick.com on the prizes tab. But if you donate a total of $125 throughout the duration of Frost Fatales, you can win a super ultra rare PS5 along with a SkyTech custom PC. So be sure to get those extra donations in if you want to meet that prize. And again, that was a fantastic run. Special shout out to Emray and her commentators for showcasing Hollow Knight. Again, I still can't get over it. It was so fantastic to witness that. And thank you everyone for tuning in to day 5 of Frost Fatales 2022. And an immense thank you for your generosity in supporting Malala Fund. That wraps it up for us today. I hope you enjoyed the speedruns today. Be sure to come back tomorrow for more. We'll be kicking off with an exclusive interview around 1:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by our first run of the day, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which, by the way, does have an incentive, which is a little more than halfway to being met. It's a 3,000 incentive. We are at 1,826, and if unlocked, you'll be able to witness the bonus levels. So be sure to get your donations in to see that incentive met. And you can check out the full Frost Fatales 2022 schedule at gamesdonequick.com to see what's up next for the rest of the marathon. But if you're craving more speedy games right at this moment, be sure to stick around for our raid. I'm Spectrolyte, and it's been a pleasure hosting for you all tonight. Whispers from the Hallownest say it's now time to rest. Good night, GDQ chat. You really are the best.